Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Angela, the director of the Center on the Hill, and it is time for another episode of Tell Me Something Good. Now, with special guests, my friend Adrienne is here. Say hi, Adrienne.
Hi,
Tell us where you're at, Adrienne.
I'm in Colorado.
Colorado. You are officially the guest that's been the furthest away in this entire series. So you hold that distinction. Somebody's got to top
Woo-hoo.
Colorado. What's the weather like in Colorado?
It is sunny and windy.
It's windy here,
Very
too.
windy.
Yeah. Is it normally windy? Like, has it been windy since you've been there?
So from what I understand, it's like this in the springtime. The spring is, like the cold air comes in off the top of the mountains and sweeps everything in.
All right. Well, that's cool. It's a little windy here today, too, but I hear the warm weather's coming for us in a minute. So
Nice.
There we go. All right. Well, for those of you playing along at home who haven't watched this before, I'll be using Storywise, the Common Ground edition. It was given to me by Atria Senior Living. It is 144 thoughtful ways to bond with a fellow human. I have picked 3 questions. They've got 3 awesome pictures that go along with it. I'm going to mix them up, and we will start with this one. You see the picture?
All right.
All right. And this one says, a memory about your first or favorite pet. So I haven't had many pets in my life. I've actually only had two that I can remember. Well, 3. I've had 3 that I can remember. One when I was very little, so I have very little memories of that dog's name was Sarah, and used to run around in the yard, and that's pretty much all I can remember about that. The second one was a standard poodle that was blind, and he was a little bit crazy because he was blind and he hit his head a few too many times on things. But I again it wasn't really my dog. It was sort of the family dog, and I wasn't particularly close to him. But the one pet that was truly mine that I loved, that I got from a teeny tiny kitten, was this beautiful little orange cat that I rescued. I'm not sure. Betty had been the one who gave me this cat. She said, look, we found this litter of kittens. The mom is nowhere to be found, and these kittens need help.
Right.
My mom has been taking care of them, and her mother had been feeding them Ensure. These kittens and giving them Ensure. So by the time I went to pick up this kitten, it was so little, it could fit in my hand. It was super cracked out. It was just peeing and had these big bulgy eyes. And I was like, what is wrong with this kitten? And Betty was like, I think it's the Ensure. I think we need to stop giving it Ensure, and then maybe mash up some cat food, and we just need to treat this cat better. And so I was like, okay, it needs a name. What am I going to name this little fuzzy cat? And it was so shaky. And so I was like, I'm going to name it Shakespeare because it's his name. So his name was Shakespeare, and he was teeny tiny. And it took him a while to calm down, a few weeks before he finally started to look like a normal cat and stopped shaking. And I had to mash up his food and give him little bottles of milk and mashed up food is what I fed him. And I nursed him basically to health. And then my then boyfriend, who was living with me, fell immediately in love with him. And for some reason, the cat seemed to bond closer to him. And I was like, but I saved you. You were being poisoned with Ensure. And
Right.
saved you. You're
Does that mean nothing?
Right, exactly. What is he got? He just yeah, he snuggles with you, but the truth of the matter is that I have a lot of cat allergies. And while he was, a pretty clean cat and definitely well maintained, I couldn't sleep with this cat because this would be a problem for me. So I did have to keep, some distance after I would play with the cat. I have to go wash my hands. And so I'm sure at some point the cat just kind of realized that and was like, well, this guy doesn't have to stop playing with me ever. So he's my guy. But that's really my memory about my favorite pet. He was my favorite because he was mine. I rescued him from a kitten. And when I moved into a place that couldn't take cats anymore, I left him with some truly fabulous cat lovers. So
Nice.
I know he had a good life, but that was my memory. What about you?
Oh, nice. So I've actually had cats my entire life. And the first 2 I have memories of, but like you were saying, they weren't really my cats. I was a kid cats don't really like little kids. They're not huge fans of them because, you know, they're grabby and whatever. Cats aren't, just not fans. So the first cat that I really have strong memories of was this cat named Tuxedo that was named because he looked like he was wearing a tuxedo. He was all black, had like a little like white patch under his neck that looked like an ascot, white paws, and like a white stripe. Like literally like looked like he had on tails. It was adorable. And he was a crazy cat. Like I remember coming home from school and he would be attached to the screen door, just like staring like, hey, just clawed on there. Like, what's going on? How's it going? And just open the door. And another time, he was also one of the only cats I remember having who was both indoor and outdoor. And I remember there was one time there was a rainstorm outside, and it was morning time, and my mom and I were at the kitchen table, and there was a big picture window right next to the kitchen table. And all of a sudden I look over and there's Tuxedo drenched, just looking in the window like, hey, guys, can you let me in? What's up? And then unfortunately there was, at some point, he wasn't a very old cat. We had him for several years, but he wasn't old. And at some point he just stopped coming back. So we don't know if he got hurt or killed by another animal, or if he just like found a pack and wandered off.
Somebody else picked him up and was like,
yeah,
cat, you're mine now. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Cats are like that.
Yeah.
They can move on. They do. All right, here's our next picture.
Ooh, I like that one.
Mm-hmm. This one says, how your upbringing influences who you are today. You get to start.
So that picture is a really good segue into my answer because both of my parents come from musical backgrounds. My dad is a professional musician, and my mom's father and brother were professional musicians. So my parents always told us that their idea of how they were going to bring up their family was to raise us on music and love. And that's exactly what I see in that picture. There's love, they're hugging each other, and he's got headphones on and, listening to beats. So that was really the theme throughout our life, as our parents were very loving, very demonstrative, and music was one of the biggest influences. All different types of music was one of the biggest parts of my life. And so really, as much as I would love to be more professionally active in music and more, it's still like, those are the things that carry me through today, definitely.
Yeah, and you're definitely, from, as long as I've known you, have definitely had music in your life and performed music and been involved musically, you sing and all that. So yes,
yes,
definitely. For me, it's very similar. So my father started taking me to the theater when I was very little. I have memories of like hiding. It's one of the reasons why I still like to watch shows from the wings. Like when I'm involved in a show, I like to kind of hide behind things and just like watch around a corner, because that's how I was first exposed to theater. Was my dad would plop me down next to the stage manager and be like, you stay right here and you can watch the whole show from right here. And I'd be like, okay. And then I'm, back here watching everything behind. And I genuinely think that is what planted the seed. And, even as I got older, I then became the kid who got to go to the theater with my father when he would do shows when I was in like 5th and 6th grade, because my father worked a full-time day job for the government and then went to do a show at night. And my stepmother at the time was like, she didn't really trust him to like not fall asleep behind the wheel like on his way home. But her logic was, if your kid's in the car, you're definitely going to stay awake because you have your child in the car, and that's going to help. And the theory actually worked. Like he did stay awake. The few times my father ever had accidents falling asleep behind the wheel were times when he was alone in the car. So it was kind of great because I got to see over and over again all these performances And that's when I learned that, like, even though a show is the same, it's different every night. And that's what really drew me to being a director and to working and performing in theater, because I was like, yes, I want to be part of that. That's an art form that, like, you create, but yet it's always different every time it sets foot on the stage. So my upbringing definitely influenced who I am today. I think without all of that, I might have followed a very different path and done something in my life. Who knows?
That's cool.
All right, here's our last question. Here's our picture.
All right.
They're a fun little couple.
Yeah.
And this says, a dream you have yet to accomplish. For me, I guess because it says yet to accomplish. It's not like, you know, something that I know is not going to happen. Something that I've yet to happen that I know I want to happen is I really want to attend an award show live, like a big award show live. And it could be the Tonys or the Oscars or the Grammys. Like, I'm not picky. Maybe the, like, Kennedy Center honors. I just want to be at one of those kind of events. That's a big dream. It's a dream I've had for many, many years. My friend Rob got to go to the Tonys like 4 years ago, and it was the biggest deal. And he was like, I was in the nosebleeds. I was so far away. It was like, it was crazy. Who cares? You were there. It didn't matter.
He was there. Yeah.
you were in that room. So that is definitely a dream I have yet to accomplish.
Is there a particular awards show that you'd prefer? Like, is there one that you'd rather go to?
No, I'm totally not picky. I honestly, any of them, because I like music. That's the Grammys. I love movies. That's the Oscars. Golden Globes kind of cover television and film. And so like, that would be great. I mean, I'll take any of them. I just want to go to an award show like that. Like, I don't want it to be like, you know, homegrown theater awards or whatever. That's nice. But I want to, something that's huge and televised that I've grown up watching. I want to do that. Yeah. What about you?
Gotcha. It is an interesting question, because the first thing that comes to mind is something that I don't know that it'll ever happen, which is like the dream of acting with somebody that I have grown up watching or admiring, and not just acting, performing, whether it's music, whether it's theater, any kind of working with somebody that I've grown up watching or listening to, and that I really enjoy. The first person that comes to my mind is Robert De Niro. Like, I would always wanted to work with him and see what he's like. I know I've heard that he's sort of like a shy kind of a person, so it's not that you would really get to interact that much, but still, it's just one of those dreams. Whether it'll happen or not, or whether it's okay. But
don't give up. You got plenty of time. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. For those of you at home, just to recap, the questions today were a memory about your first or favorite pet, how your upbringing influences who you are today, and a dream you have yet to accomplish. Send your thoughts to me at msavedra@chestnuthillpres.org. That's MSAAVEDRA at chestnuthillpres.org. And join the conversation. Thanks, Adrienne, for joining us today. It was so great to hear your thoughts on this. Enjoy that windy, lovely weather in Colorado.
Will do. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day.